and a one. We're live. It's Sam and Michael. It's website one, order of the day. So I guess, did you have a chance to read the blog post?
A little bit,
Yeah, just anyway. So I noticed what I think was an oversight on our part in like hiding the what the hell is it called? The start the hangout on air button.
uh,
In as much as, yeah, it just yeah, it hides it. It's like it does 10 minutes before, and then for the duration of the actual event, it hides it as well, which I think is wrong.
right.
So I fixed that, I think.
Yeah.
I guess I could just double check that by now, as I was doing earlier, playing around with the timing of the Scrum here. So if I set this to like if it was actually in progress, so that was like say that it had started at 1:30 p.m. Will that actually work there? And I save that. So yeah, now the fix is up. Basically, even the event is in progress, it will have started event. Yeah, and so now, but if we actually have it so it had passed, so we make it that it started at 1 p.m. No, I've taken it off Wednesdays, have I? Yeah, that's interesting. Was it just a one-off thing? Yeah, which is basically what we want. So let's put that back. Yeah. Okay. Which I think I mean, it's just interesting how that interacts with how we were interpreting what the users were reporting yesterday. Um, but so we could, I mean, move on to work on the participant data model. We did have a user complaining about that issue which you'd identified, which is this one. So I thought we might just start by getting this sorted.
Uh,
How's it?
Something. Okay.
Um, did you? So this is 1135. Shall I drive or you?
Uh, so let me do something. Okay.
You want to drive
Uh,
on this?
yeah, I guess. I'll go.
Hmm.
Uh,
You can share your screen. Have you got the latest develop?
what?
You've got the you're getting the latest develop.
Uh-huh. Uh, which one was this again?
It's 1135. Show correct date on in index page. Just add.
Uh, Someone complained about that, or?
Yeah, that was someone described it as a problem, which is what made me think to prioritize it.
Uh, Okay. So it's just the date part that's wrong, right?
Yes, I believe so. But basically, I mean, I think we created a new element that would handle this. What did we do? We did something. We did something to the show page that basically is the same sort of fix. Events show. So in the date now, yeah, we just pass local time with a particular format. And on the index page, where's the date displayed on the index? Was there? Yeah, we're just on the index page at the moment. We're just formatting the raw time thing, and we.
So if you look on my screen.
Yep. Yeah, so we got there on line 57, local time, and it grabs the time, and then it just actually formats it in the date style, and that ends up using.
And then we have some associated tests with that.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, we should probably start from a test.
Show that test.
I mean, I think the other thing we've got is, my sense is that there's a mix, like in the show event feature, we've got a mixture of different scenarios, some of which are about the show page, which is great, and others which are about the index page. Show event feature. I wonder if there's a clear separation, like, so for example, yeah, we've got at the very bottom
What's the show page?
Yeah, that scenario that you're looking at there is the show page. Yeah, and you're looking for the, sorry, well, I don't mean to distract you. You're looking for the test that, yeah, you've got there on line 38. That's an example of the test that we've got for checking.
I don't really understand, because it says, oh, but then.
Go on.
And 15 means it repeats every day.
I guess so.
So the next occurrence would be the next day. Does that really test the data?
Well,
I mean, it doesn't test it like on a.
no, I mean, basically, it's as with all the stuff to do with the local time gem, because we couldn't get a reliable JavaScript test to work on CI, it just tests that that date is in the
Formatted that way.
right, that it's there, it's in that particular time or local time element under the hood, and then we kind of say, okay, the gem is so I mean the way it would break now is that it would basically not see that particular HTML element underneath.
And we have this span class called month, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if that's used or important or
No.
not. Well, I mean, there's no immediate reason to remove it if we're just focusing on.
No, I mean, that's where it's at, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the right location. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
This
The contents of the span class month will be what we would replace.
Okay. Well,
List events feature, yeah.
So we have two events. They never repeat, right?
And I guess actually none of the tests is checking the presence of the dates at all.
No.
So we could just be checking. We could part the
Add
least resistance. Yeah, add it to the first scenario. Show index of events, and just copy over that.
And just literally copy this.
Sure.
So this should be set to 2.0.02. Right, or is it the other way around?
All right. Yep.
14.
I guess
Probably that won't actually work.
yeah. Well, it may have an ambiguous match, I guess, or maybe not.
Because they're different times.
Yeah. So it might just, I mean, fail in the way that we expect.
Check to define that, but there were no matches.
Yeah. So, and that's the one, it fails on the local date element.
So
you could just go and make the change. Yeah.
So this would be changed to what again?
Well, if you go to the show, yeah, and just grab local time.
Well, let's put that in there.
Yeah, grab the whole thing and. Yeah, so I guess we can just take instance time and replace event at event.next event occurrence with time.
Local time, instance time. Okay. That right?
Yeah, that looks right.
We'll run that again. That passed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could have a little manual check of it. Or you want to do the other time one as well? Sure.
7. This should be 10, right?
Uh-huh. I guess depending upon the repeats.
There's no repeats in this.
Oh, no repeats in the okay. Okay.
So it passed.
Okay. Well, I mean, what we could do is get a quick pull request in for that. I mean, we could do a manual. Or do you want to push it over to me and I'll check it manually on my side and we can both check it, of course.
We're getting a lot of sets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I think you often get consets when you have failures. Like if we have some kind of failure, then there's potentially different loads in the pages.
Oh my god, features.
Thanks. Okay, and so the test is the features events. Something about features events, the list events. And I am running the server. Which port am I running it on? Probably just 3000 so I can log in properly. Okay. Yeah, that's all green. And then, yes, it's the events. And yeah, so I guess what I should be doing is setting this to be like just before midnight or something. Like where it would be one day with the one thing and another day with the other one. So if we're just after, if I set it to be on that, if I set it to be at like 0, I wish we should stick that in the 24-hour clock. The stupid thing. Can I do that? Will it like break? Let's see. Is that an invalid time stamp? Okay, so that ends up putting it not quite where I want it. I have to say 12:30 a.m. Okay, so that sticks it there. Wednesday, June the 29th. So we're assuming that would be on the previous day. Now, previously in the events list, this would have shown it as Tuesday, but it now shows it as Wednesday. Also, okay. And is the formatting there? Are we actually doing a longer formatting than what we previously had in the? If we look at the main site and we look at the events, yeah, we had a slightly shorter format. So I wonder if we can just. I think it was just those small letters. Yeah. I wonder if that will break the tests. But so it was a small a and a small b. So there we go. That just makes it small again. Let's see what the tests think about that. No, that's interesting. Okay. But that's because we're specifically looking for that in that step. So I guess the way around that is, and the short local date time element. Okay. Oh, I sent you those views of the data, like with the usernames filled in as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that piqued your interest. I thought it was sort of interesting to see patterns of like who was repeatedly starting single events, and you know, like if I think it'll be interesting to look at. Anyway, okay, so that's all green. Git status, git commit -am. Makes index of events have short dates. Push origin 1135. And then hub pull request -b develop. So this is insert. This is 135. Okay. And then just going to go and tell the. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I maybe no one will notice. But I think particularly when a user reports a problem, it's great to be able to go back to them and say, we've just done a pull request to fix the problem. You mentioned hope to get that into production soon. Apologies for any inconvenience. So great to have got that out of the way. What it brought to my attention was, I guess originally we only ever had show event, and we created the list events feature and moved some things in there. We have some things in the show event which is specifically about list events, but they don't mention the. I mean, well, I guess they're both of them. Let's saying I'm on the. Okay, it starts on the index page and then it ends up on the show page, but really that's about functionality of the list, not the show page. Similarly, like this one doesn't mention the show page at all. This is also, yeah, that's index page. Oh, that's new event. That's creating a new event. So I mean, and we could just move them over, except that they're kind of tied up to bits of.
Wait.
Go on.
This again. Hello?
Hello? Can you hear? Yeah? Go on. You said.
I lost the thread of what you were talking about.
Oh, I was just talking about how some of the scenarios in here seem to be more naturally associated with a list events feature than a show event feature. And we could just trivially move them across. The fiddly thing is that the
background and all that.
Is the background data. I guess the thing to do there, let's see, thank you from the user, is maybe create a refactoring issue there, which would be like refactor list events and show events feature to ensure scenarios are in affected location, but some scenarios seem to be in the wrong file. Moving would require editing background data. But I guess we can kind of live with that for the moment, and maybe push on to this thing about the fixing the data about the participants. Do you think this is what we should?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So did we create an issue for that one?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Right, there we go. So we've got Hangout participation data is lost. Right. So, and we were talking about a couple of different possible models for this, like one where we store every single bit of data, and another one where we just sort of maintain the list of participants. Should we start this with some sort of acceptance test that's like describing what data we would like to be able to access?
Yeah. Okay.
You're having a lot of bloody build failures. What's that one there? Mix, and that one is the Scrum's feature, which I've seen fail several times. So I need to add that to intermittence. Scrum's 22. So, okay, this is 1153. Store participant, this hangout participant data effectively. And so I'm just thinking that there's, I mean, this is kind of related to the events feature. I mean, one way of describing what we expect is we could be saying that we want some aspect of the interface to display the participant data accurately. Although maybe that makes the whole thing more complex. I mean, I'm sort of imagining it would be lovely to have, you know, on the. I guess it doesn't make sense in in the context of the events.
Well,
go on.
We don't necessarily need to make an acceptance test, do we?
No. I mean, and I think
because
go on.
Or, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the Qt language at this point, because, like, it could just be a feature spec.
Yeah. Well, go on.
Because we're not necessarily rolling out functionality that anyone can see.
Not necessarily, although I am keen for it to be visible. Well, actually, as it happens, we already have functionality that would be affected if we make this change.
Which change?
So if we make a change that the participant data is stored more effectively, we're going to, in principle, see a change to
events.
Right. I mean, I'm kind of like, at some level, I would love to get the past events, get all this data kind of better, what's the word, better displayed to the users where people can actually find it. But I guess actually that's probably premature. That's sticking too much into the thing. So I mean, what I guess, the way that we should be approaching this now is, I mean, some people are finding this, and actually, it's a view like this, which is sort of historical of these, does make sense, because we can't easily cram historical participant data into the events. There's maybe something about, what the current event has available. But so, I mean, this effectively has a bug that, the bug that we've had in the past is that, if, for example, I mean, these all seem to have, yeah. So for example, like if this Hangout had 2 people in it and then it updated once, the other person had dropped or whatever, it will have been overwritten. So we can, I think it might be sensible to approach it as if we've got a bug in the system that we want to fix, rather than necessarily we want to sort of create an open-ended solution. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And one way in also, I mean, I think might be informative is if we can find, do we have like a Hangouts? What do we have? We have a Scrums feature. No, that's the Scrums page. Product videos, Hangout feature. So does one of these, yeah, so like we've got display live sessions extra info, display live sessions basic info. Like we've got, interesting. So we've got this functionality here. Which is, no, this is the basic info and the extra info. And then I visit Hangouts. Well, how are these two even different? I guess it's the same thing. It's just looking for this, and it's not using JavaScript on it. So basically, when the capybara looks at this page, it sees both of these things. So is this the additional data that it's expecting to see? Yeah, event, category, duration, and participants. Right. So it's sort of, it's checking here. This is it checking for a certain number of participants. And I guess here, right, but this is, we've got, it's created with 2 of them. Okay, yeah. Managing Hangouts of Scrums and pair programming sessions. I mean, I think what I'm tempted to do is to create kind of a subfolder here, which is called Hangouts. I mean, that's another thing is kind of, I guess calling them event instances is like great in the idea that maybe, one day we will have events that are not related to Hangouts. But that seems like a pretty far off day. So I would sort of imagine here, if we had a participant feature, which is seeing participants of past and current Hangouts. So, I mean, there's different ones. There's like as an admin, so that I can see if people are getting together or not. I would like to see who was in which past and current Hangouts. And then as a user, so that I can see who is in a Hangout no, so that I can make a decision about whether to join a Hangout. I would like to see who is in a Hangout. And so if we try and describe the scenario at the top level, so we've got kind of, given Hangout is started by so-and-so, John, then I should see John as a participant, and then when the Hangout connection updates to add Bob, then I should see we've got kind of John and Bob as participants, and when the Hangout connection updates to add and connection updates to remove Bob, I should see John and Bob and Anne. Something like that?
I guess. I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we could be writing this against the event show page, and sort of saying, we want to expose this data accurately to the, for a currently running thing, or we could be doing this against the Hangouts page, or we could just implement these so that it checks in the database.
Right.
Which is maybe the simpler thing, so that we don't get hung up in what the user interface looks like.
I mean,
Go on.
I was just going to say, if you're just going to do it, if you're just going to do a database test, then I don't know.
You think the cucumber is overkill if you're doing a database test?
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things I really like about the cucumber is specifying the high level intent, because we could write the same thing here directly in our spec, and I think that the intent would be less clear.
Not necessarily.
Well, I mean, it's like it's the thing that I find kind of going. I mean, I've got quite a lot of experience with RSpec and Jasmine, but I still find, like, if I'm going into a spec like this, the process of working out, what the high level intent is, it just takes me longer. And I think, yeah, I guess that the.
I don't know. I just think that, this, it's misleading because there is no I seeing John as a participant anyway. It's just that, as
Right. No, I guess if it ends up being, yeah, if it then yeah, if it's going to be just a quick test of the database in the first instance, then this should be then it would be this, right?
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah.
So we've got, now we were working already in the events thing where we had, what were we doing with the, or we were calling it the live event feature. So we had kind of given a scrum. So if we have a background, there's a scrum. So given an event scrum, I mean, I guess, I mean, there doesn't have to be an event associated with it. So we've got, now this one, basically, we've got this one. We've got it at the moment, this is hard coded, that it's been started by Alejandro. So, I mean, we can, and then do we have a live event feature? So we've got this, when the Hangout connection pings to the event is ongoing. And that, what participants is that? Okay, so at the moment that's just sent, it's reusing the existing participants, right?
Yes.
So I can imagine here we sort of want to just adjust these things so that we can pass in we could be passing in the names, or we could be just like, I mean, the even higher level one kind of says that given the agent is being to indicate the event starts, then the host should be a participant, and then given that another person joins Hangout, then the Hangout participants should be updated when one person leaves and another joins, then the Hangout participants should still show, you know, everyone should still include everyone who ever joined. Would be the kind of like really declarative thing and extracting all of the data from it. And I guess the question is which is clearer in terms of establishing the intent? Does it? You care for one or the other, or it's not even worth worrying about?
Say the second one.
Prefer the second one. Yeah. And that may be easier to just write rather than trying to make all of those things. Okay. So and in principle, like we don't even need to have an event. I guess this is in the Hangout feature. What they've tended to do here, they just do the following Hangouts exist. So like so. Yeah. Okay, with that sort of loads. Oh, interesting. So I guess they've got Hangout steps, and they've got a mechanism here for creating a set of participants. Okay. Interesting.
But I'd be suspicious of it.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Well, and I think probably the pattern that I would imagine following here is we would create all the things, but create a new file and call it participant steps. And try and, create our own participant steps.rb. Really? Do I have to now? It's going to create a new separate file for all of them? Oh, go on. Participants feature. Car. So now if I'm going to go and actually, will that have the participant steps? It will. It's got $RB. Can I rename it from here? Oh, that's participant steps. Come on. There it is. Refactor. Rename. Do the refactor. Okay. All right. So we've got. Now, at the moment, I don't know if we necessarily should be using this. But I guess the this one is going to assume the existence of a particular event. I mean, I guess a Hangout, I mean, like even the one we're in now, doesn't have to have an event ID. So I could just say Hangout is live. Take this into the participant steps. Stick that at the top. Given that the Hangout connection is ping to indicate the Hangout is live. To indicate the Hangout is live. Right. And let's close all in group, close others. Let's split this horizontally. Let's see this. Okay, I would much rather have it this way round. Okay, so Given that the Hangout connection is pinged to indicate the Hangout is live. So participants, yeah, we'll play with that in a minute. Basically, we've got should we just set that given a Hangout? You know, just let me create it for you. Yeah, right. Okay. Given Hangouts. We want to end. So this is Hangout equals event instance find by the title Hangouts flow. Okay, so the title then here could be at Hangouts. Host ID, that's supposed to refer to the user ID.
Probably.
The person, I guess, who clicked the actual button.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We might just look at. We'll see if it's crashed or whatever. If I look for the source of this current system that we're running, I wonder if we can see. Like, so this is a Hangout that's running that has no associated event. Okay. And so we can see here what gets sent back. So the event ID looks like it's just nil there.
Yeah.
Would it come back as the empty string? If it's form data, I think it ends up being interpreted as the empty string.
Probably.
So then we've got our participants. We've got the Hangout URL instead as project ID. Everything has a project ID now. I guess that project ID might not exist. We won't worry about that. Category, Scrum, whatever. Category, it's PairProgramming. Event, Scrum. Is that going to try and associate an event associated with it, isn't it? Yeah. Let's just remove that. Is this going to end up assuming and requiring that, that these different people exist? Hangout feature, has it got users? It has. I guess we might as well create those users. And right, and this one, we've got these Hangout steps as well that maybe we don't want this being created like this. Right. I wonder if this will just work with, because there's break if participant empty. So if we do it like that. Okay. So I mean, and the participants are kind of irrelevant because there's no guarantee that the participants actually get generated, are there? Then the host should be a participant. So,
right.
So basically, there we should be able to like ask like something Hangouts participants, expect Hangouts participants
to include, yeah.
To include, and then we've sort of got, it's almost like we need.
There's a special structure to it, though.
There is, and at the moment it's kind of extra. I guess should we leave that in there? I mean, participants.
I'd write a R spec matcher.
Well, I wonder if ultimately we want to be changing the contents of the participants, because at the moment it like returns like a kind of a hash based upon the text that's stored in the underlying system. So we've got, oh wow, so actually I haven't seen this before. We've got an event instance presenter that I don't know that we would even be using here. I mean, if we're just talking about the database, we've got event instance participants. See, I think that's going there, and it's jumping to the wrong thing. There's event instance, right? Participants is just the string in the database. Or is it? Oh, we've got this serialize. So does that mean that the string comes out as a Ruby object? It's like underneath. I assume that's what it means. I guess let's write the interface that we wish we had.
Why don't you just write?
I'll write something. I mean, I'm obviously going on long here, and we should get it ponged over to you. I'll just try and write something and get it sketched out. I guess the what we would like to be able to do is, you know, it's kind of almost, you know, I think there needs to be a participant model independently of the users, because we can't guarantee that any given participant is gonna.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, we don't want the fact that someone hasn't registered for Agile Ventures to be used as a reason to not store their data or to be unable to represent them, right?
But I mean, in the first instance, they are being represented in some way, as it is right now.
Right.
It's not cross-linked with Agile Ventures.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I guess maybe I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be. I'm sort of thinking about wanting to create a participant model, so that we don't have this serialization stuff going backwards and forwards. But maybe I shouldn't go there. And what I should be doing here is, given that the participants, I guess actually what I should probably just do is, if I can even get to this point and see what the Hangout participants looks like at that point, that's better. And I can leave. I don't need to go and write all of that. Let's do it at a simple thing, and I'll get maybe this one, and then we can, you know, get somewhere. So what is this? We're going to be running BE Cucumber features Hangouts participants feature. Because that's the danger, of course, with writing lots of code, is you find that there's like one error early at the beginning that prevents it. Okay, so we've got undefined method name for event instance. Hangout name. See, I thought title. Things like that. Okay, so we've got to there. So at this point, Hangouts, no, that's wrong. Hangout participants is nil at Hangout. We have a Hangout. The participants are nil. And why is that? Ah, okay, that's got at Google ID there. No, is that right? Is that?
No. No.
I guess this is not necessarily linking up with the current. How does this Hangout connection actually link back with the appropriate event instance?
If there's no event, right?
Right, but there's an event instance. So if we look at the data coming through, event ID is nothing. What's it hitting? It's hitting, like that's actually the ID of the, I think that's the ID of the Hangout.
There's an event instances controller.
Yeah.
It must be just hitting the update method.
Yeah, I think it's in that context. Is like I think if it's got the event, then it links to it. But so I think probably here what we want is we want Hangout.id.
UID or whatever.
You think it's UID?
Well,
Yeah, could be. I mean, I can do
some like unique ID. That's weird.
sure.
I think's generated by Google.
Yeah,
That's guaranteed to be unique, I assume.
yeah. I think. Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that that's an integer there. So if we now go to Hangout.participants here, still nil at Hangout. The UID underscore 1. Event instance ID is 4. But yeah, so we should be in the event instances controller. We should have bybug in there. And so at this point here, the params ID that's come in is 6, which I think makes sense. But so it's going to do event instance find or create like that. The thing is, it's creating an event instance ID 7. It's searching by UID. Yeah, okay. So then, I guess the UID that comes back from the Hangout is different from the like here we've got the UID to the UID underscore what have you. But so here then the params ID is this. That retrieves event instance ID 8, which has got title Hangouts for. I don't know if it's created a new one. The fact that its category is pair programming. The participants.
If you type params, what happens?
I mean, this is the incoming.
So there is a set of okay. To keep going through it.
Yeah. So. Does it then? I mean, I guess it gets to here.
What's Hangout params?
Yeah. I mean, that's another method, isn't it? I think. We could continue there and just see the Hangout itself. The Hangout would it actually grab? That's the key thing. So the Hangout we have here is event instance ID 8. And the Hangout that it found here is event instance ID 8. So it's through this. It's at least it's grabbing the existing Hangout and it's trying to update
yeah.
the thing with the participant there. Participants is set to participants. But for some reason, here now, when we get to this point, I guess, is it possible that that Hangout needs to be reloaded from the database to take for this change to be?
Maybe.
Like, do I have to do here, like if I reload that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's interesting.
I would do @hangout.reload.participants.
Can I just do @hangout.reload here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
that works.
Interesting.
It's gonna fail because that participant new doesn't really.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I need to buy a bug in there again. Stupid. Anyway, I wonder if that, because it will stop there. If I then continue, will it stop here? It will. Ooh. Event instance. And then get rid of that for the moment. So at this point, we've got Hangout participants is equal to, so the serialize must generate this, basically allows a text string to be a Ruby structure.
Yeah.
So we, and I guess what I was doing here, what we have here is a hash structure, which is a series of, so do we want to do filter?
I say you want to do, there's a difference.
There's like a structure here, and then it's like struck.
Any, I think you want to do.
Okay. I wonder if that will work with the.
Let me see.
Can we not do filter on a hash? I mean, I guess actually, yeah, maybe I can just do keys any. If I just grab the keys, no, sorry, values.
Key in that.
If I do values, any question mark, and
what is value?
Values gives me so like this is a key and this is a value. So I basically don't really care about the keys here.
And then you want to see.
And then this is this structure. Can I do that? Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
It also is true.
I think you want double equals.
Oh, you're right.
Because that would just be an assignment, which would be truthy.
Yeah. Struck person.
And it's saying no.
It's saying no, which is not what we want to see. I mean, I guess the other thing to just quickly do here is if we put map and delete this, then we can just sort of see what it thinks that. Oh, so it's just getting, for some reason, the display name is only getting the first. Oh, it's probably because I reset it to Alejandro here. So, so I think it is correct. It just now, because I've accidentally restructured the string, that is true there. So. So to make this here, so it kind of becomes expects Hangout participant values any there that equals like this to be true, and that's so ugly. It's difficult to look at, but
to someone who loves functional programming, it's beautiful.
Indeed. Well, beauty, as they say, is in the eye of the beholder. So I wonder if we can. So this is basically wrapping a test around our existing functionality. It's just making the Hangout connection component participant thing there. Expected true to respond to true question mark. Perhaps you meant to be true. Oops. Oh. I mean, the next, assuming that works, what? I mean, this ends up. Well, maybe I should pass it over to you rather than doing that. Let's just check that does get to the next pending point. So the first step of wrapping the existing functionality in a test and then causing a couple of okay. So let's do here. Commit -am wraps existing this is like Hangout connection participants update existing update functionality in acceptance test. Git push origin 1153. Do you want to take that and drive with that? I'm just gonna step away momentarily.
Oh shit.
Hey.
I just sorry. That should be where we're at. That's where we're at. Okay. So basically, even a hangout. what do we need to do? So another joins the Hangout.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the simplest, yeah, you just copy all of, or bits and pieces of, yeah, that one, and copy them into the next step. But so, yeah, we just need to modify, on line 22, that participant structure so that it includes another individual. Now, I guess the easiest way to, I can grab you some structures from the database, put those in, or you can just kind of copy it over and hack it over. It's a bit unwieldy, isn't it?
Alexander. Right?
Sure.
And is broadcaster false? Okay.
Cool.
Then the participant should be uploaded. Paste.
Yeah, so I
I'll
mean, just a duplicate. Yeah, exactly.
And this should be
Right.
Alexander. Great.
Yeah.
One person leaves and another joins.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where it should fail, right?
Yeah. Did that one just pass?
Yeah, passed.
Cool. Yeah, so you could just, yeah, you can copy almost the same thing again. We just and yeah, you've done it, yeah. And then
Right, Alexander Little.
mm-hmm.
I think Alejandro means Alexander in Spanish.
I imagine it probably does.
And then we expect that this has all these. We're going to put that little, and we'll see the last one fail. So, because it won't have grade anymore. Right.
Right.
It should fail on that last line.
Yeah. Well, you've still got it. Yeah, right. Well, you should be expecting it to be false. At the moment, it'll pass, right? Because
what?
well, you're expecting. Oh no, wait a sec. So I'm sorry. No, you're right. Yeah. We're expecting it, and the current functionality is that it does not. Okay, so now we've wrapped the basic error, haven't we?
Yes.
I was just reflecting that sorry, I was doing something else in the background. I was stay with your code. I was just reflecting that if we now adjust the system so that the participants updates, and it kind of I guess the simplest way to do it is to kind of merge with, like, when a new participants thing comes in, is work out some way to just merge it so that the hash ends up having that set of different things in it. Our data will now be skewed in the other direction, because we could have a hangout where, I guess, one person would leave, another person would then join. Because of the 2-minute interval, we'd have gone from the situation that I think we currently have now, where things that seem like they have only one person might have had more people in them. If we switch over to like sort of storing all of the participants without the dates and times of when they left or joined, it'll go more conservative in the other direction. And so then some of the things where multiple people look like they were present, they may not actually have been present at the same time. But I guess that's probably a better place to be than where we are now.
Yeah.
And there's sort of a further state down the line where we kind of store more information about when people leave and join.
Or at least every 2-minute snapshots we store.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, I guess at the moment, if we have this on 2 minute, if we do what seems like the simplest way to make that test pass, which is to kind of like merge the things, what we'll have is, rather than every 2-minute snapshot, we'll have like a squished version of it. But you're saying in the future we can separately store 2-minute snapshots, or right? There's lots of other things that we can do at different points. So that didn't take you very long. Do you want to? I mean, the other thing we could be doing is trying to dry out the tests themselves. Maybe more fun to like that we know that's going to be a relatively straightforward thing to do. Maybe the thing that we should be checking if we can do is, can we easily find a way of merging these incoming participant things so that they update on top of each other, rather than
yeah. So I'm thinking if we assume that this ID is unique, right?
Person ID.
So we change that to 3, and we change that to 4. Let's say. Assume that's unique. I'm just thinking because like a naive merge wouldn't work.
In what sense?
Well,
a naive merge at the top level hashes because the keys are 1s and 0s. So no,
around. I think.
Say again.
I said people could move around, like someone who was a 1 could become.
Oh, totally. Yeah. We kind of have to sort of kind of work out. We have to sort of. But I mean, the participant updating process, rather than kind of just at the moment, I think that it just overwrites it, right? It just the incoming.
Yeah.
When we're in the
it just totally overrides it.
It just totally overwrites it. And if we're in what's this events instance controller, so it's just one of the incoming params. And Hangout params does something. Yeah, I mean, So we've got this Hangout params thing where we've got already a sort of a moment where we could be, doing this translation, interfering. I mean, we could effectively write kind of like a merge we could at this point in the code, we could be grabbing, I think we already have, was it in Hangout params, where is it there? Like it's got the event instance reference here, and we could pass in like the event instance there, and from an event instance here, we could like grab the existing participants, and then we could we could have an operation which would be like,
I think that's right.
Like a right. I mean, it's sort of nastily messy, but we could just have an operation that would be kind of like a merge participants.
Actually,
I don't think we need to do it. Oh, does that actually get called twice there? It's called 3 times.
Yeah. So we'd have to only call it once.
Or we could just, I mean, we could, I mean, that seems like a sensible thing to do. Although, who knows what side effects it might create. But I mean, we could just have an instance method, a private method here that's operated on the. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Go on. Just that line 12 can be deleted as well.
Okay. Event instance dot participants be now here.
Right.
So here we have that, and then we have params.
So we want the merge operation, don't we? That will take those two things and merge them, non-destructively.
Yeah. Right. So, how do you think we should go about this?
Well, I would be tempted to just sort of, rather than doing it from there on the IRB, I might just sort of write a scrappy method in the controller itself. So like underneath the Hangout params, I would do, or above it or wherever, yeah, is do like def merge participants. And then that should take 2 arguments, which would be, like existing participants and like new new participants. And so I guess we could, you can copy most of line 78 into where you've got the by bug. So I guess that's where we'd call it like merge participants there. Oh, well, I guess actually we would sort of call it on line 68, replace param. Yeah, there you go. Merge participants. So we've got params participants. And then you've got event instance participants. And I wonder, params participants, is that in a string form or is it in a? I guess what I would do there is then get the bybug inside that thing there and just then inspect exactly what. I guess we could even see it from the previous one, but branches 1153.
So existing participants is nil.
In this case, and what is new participants? What's the class of new participants there? It's a hash, right? It's not a string. It's actually a hash. Okay, so I guess the fact that kind of the nil tells us that we can basically, you can return you can kind of return new participants there. And then we basically want to loop and compare, don't we? So we could just.
So now we have new participants. We have existing participants. So basically, we want to put anything in the new participants into the existing if it doesn't exist in the existing, right?
Right. So probably the thing to do is to take each new participant in turn and search to see if their ID exists in the existing participants. So we can kind of use some of the code that we already have in the Hangout steps.
So if we
sorry, participant steps.
Existing or new participants. Each. What was our?
We had participant steps. Here we go. Yeah, so we can kind of ask for each of the new
new participants each do key value.
Yeah, then we could ask existing participants dot values dot any question mark.
Any question mark.
And then pass it the little block where we check if the person ID is equal to the. So that, I guess you've got V and then the similar, like your person ID. You got struck twice at the beginning of the block.
So,
well, I guess the thing to check for might be to make that like a not equal. Oh, well, you're doing a unless. I was just going to put like not equals. Okay. Unless that. So that tells us that the new participants, I mean, could we just then be inserting, like we could then say existing participants, open square brackets, and put in a
participants.
and then you could have like a random. You could basically do existing participants dot length plus 1 there. Or actually, I think you don't even need the plus 1 because it's counting from 0, isn't it? So length, and there might need to be 2 string. I mean, just to match the format of the other 2s, yeah. And then equal, and then it would just be v. And then we would just return existing participants at the end of the function. I think it needs to be the next line down.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, it'll horribly break.
Yeah. As it probably should, given that it's kind of horrible code.
Yes, miraculously.
Okay. Yeah.
Ship it.
Do you wanna push it? Well, you push it over, and we should both run, the other tests and see if anything else has gone nuts. You've got an extra F there that's going to fail. Right. Okay.
I'm gonna step away for a moment.
Oh, sure. Full origin 1153. Okay, so I have that locally. So we should run, at the very least, BC Hangouts. Those features, isn't it? Features Hangouts star dot feature. Check if that's green. That's running. Oh, I do want to sync this if I... Can I sync my phone there? Hold on. Options, automatically back up. Will it back up from here? Okay, that's good. Okay, they've all passed. That's interesting. Often the RSpecs are something we've overlooked. Because we don't trust them. We don't trust them. Okay. So that's a quick fix then. Interesting. Right. What is that? I mean, effectively, we've got some okay. I mean, we've got a I mean, there's kind of a
So basically, what we're doing is vacuuming up. We're vacuuming up anyone who's ever been in the Hangout.
That's right. That is indeed what we are doing.
And keeping them.
Yes.
So our queue's passed.
Yeah. I mean, this is looking like a. I mean, it's a quick and dirty fix, but it's a quick and dirty fix that could give us, an improvement in our data, and doesn't have to wait around for a big change in the model.
Mm-hmm.
I just dried out the spec there a little bit. I mean, there are various things that, like the participant structure, that it would be nice to be able to see the different participants more effectively, and that's kind of ugly, but yeah. I mean, that seems like that's probably is worthy of a pull request. I mean, not something we should rush into production, but we can get that out. And that, go on.
Do you want to refactor the test all?
Well, I think before I spent time refactoring the tests, like, you could write a custom RSpec matcher and this, that, and the other. I mean, it's sort of a question of I'd like to work out first, are we going to be sticking with this mechanism of storing the participants in the database like this versus, a different approach? Yeah, I mean, we've got like a really nice, simple fix here, and we could look at where we want to invest our time. Because I mean, I think I'm definitely going to make a cup of tea at this point. I'll get a pull request in the works. I just made a couple of very minor changes, sorting out the indenting and so on. Minus AM, cleaned up a little. Yeah. Excuse me. Oops. That's not what I expected to see there. No. See here, what?
Of course, for live events now, on that page, it's going to show everyone who was ever in
Yeah, which I think is probably how we want it in the first instance. What is this pull request?
If nothing broke, it indicates that
right.
That was never actually put on your test.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was, it was never checked that people who are not there would go away. So I'm not expecting anything. For some reason here, this pull request is like, it's just given it a completely different. So this is, it should be like, this is storing more data about Hangout participants. Save that, and that's 115, and this fixes 1153. Comment that could have a please check. Go and have a look at little waffle. So it's probably higher priority there, as is that one and that one. Okay, yeah. And then if I just look at the pull requests, in general, we've got implement correct date on index. That should also have, these should all have, please check on them. Maybe that's why Raoul didn't put it as wanted. So yeah, I'm going to make a tea and get a hot cross bun.
Okay.
I think the other thing to think about is, yeah, there's clearly a much bigger fix that we could do, which is to sort of store, when the participants are joining and leaving, but that might be premature if the Hangout connection is only sending us data back every 2 minutes. Maybe the Hangout should be sending us, I don't know. I mean, I think what we want to be moving towards ultimately is, can I find a real thing? Like, things that will make it easier for people to feel more comfortable just jumping into an event, a live running event. Anyway, I'll get some tea. Yeah. See you momentarily. Hey. So,
Independence Day.
yes, they're doing another movie, aren't they?
Yeah, but
Oh.
GTA is doing an event for it.
For the movie or for the American holiday?
And for the game and the holiday.
Oh, yeah.
They're bringing back the Liberator.
Oh, okay. Is that a kind of gun?
No. It's a ridiculously sized monster truck
Oh, okay. Even
with
better.
If I hired you, what is your plan?
with a let me show you. Sure you're really interested.
I'm. It's nice to be diverted when I'm having a tea break.
American flag and patriotism.
Yeah, I mean, I'm well, I'm a big fan of America.
See that?
No, because you're not sharing your screen.
Oh. Basically that.
Cool.
See, it's got the flag and Liberator, because America liberates countries.
Yes, yes.
And then there's an American flag.
Is it a Harley or something?
Harley.
Is that a Harley? No.
No, I mean, it's kind of some kind of touring bike.
Probably German.
A German bike covered with American flags.
Absolutely. You've seen The Man in the High Castle. Yeah, good stuff.
You call it the Sovereign motorcycle.
Interesting.
Patriotic gear, including hats, t-shirts, and more. Gotta have that stuff.
That's interesting. I'm just looking through some of the event. I guess this is the Hangouts page, and so this is our live Hangout. We've got, people can join it. I'm not sure why there's this CS169 thing here. 1235 doesn't. I don't know why that appears above us. But it also has no participants.
Huh.
I guess I would. Well,
Maybe because it started after us.
but I guess it's like, in order for it to have no participants, surely the Hangout update would have. I guess maybe if it never receives for it to become an event instance, it has to have been contacted back by the Hangout connection.
Right.
And at that point, I guess, see, the thing is, I guess for that request to go out from the Hangout connection, it has to be running in somebody's browser somewhere. So at that point, you would have thought that it had a participant because that was running in somebody's browser. And any update, if it actually receives an update, it sort of implies that it's actually being. But anyway, so, and then there's this one. So that's. I guess this one's ahead of us because it, in principle, started more recently than us. And this one started longer ago. And these two people, so it says here, the person who started was Paul Caston. He then appears with a different color here.
Because that's his G+.
As opposed to his, presumably this is his GitHub associated with R.
Have a photo set.
And then we have Rob, and presumably that's his G+ photo. No, actually, no, it's connected to a real user in our system. But notice that for you and I here, even though we are using, I guess the implication there is that our G plus thing is not synced up properly.
No.
But I mean, I do have a Google Plus association. Anyway,
Maybe it just doesn't look for it.
I mean, it's looking for it and finding this guy. I mean, there's some code somewhere that does it, and it maybe has all kinds of bugs. But
Well, maybe that's his Google Plus photo.
But it also it's actually when you mouse over it in the bottom corner, I can see it says Agile Ventures users Rob.
Oh.
Whereas ours is both, this kind of like there's no link. This is an unknown user. Whereas this one is actually I mean, it may be that that's his G plus image, but it's also allowing us to go to him here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, did we fix G plus recently?
We fixed it so that people can log in, but there's no guarantee. I'm not sure what the mechanism is if you log in with GitHub and then you want to hook up to G plus. I'm not sure what mechanism we provide. Anyway, I was just sort of thinking before we pushed on with something in particular to sort of look through what we've got here, and then we've got the events. I mean, what we've got about to be rolled out is a thing that will allow us to see the user icon here for the person who created the event. We've got it now set up so that a live event will continue to show live for much longer. That's reflected here. Our current event, would have fallen off the events list anyway due to that 15-minute thing.
Right.
I guess the other thing to do is to have a quick look at the back up in that environment. I cannot. I've got. I was finding it interesting to look at the. Where's my? Oh, is it that one? No, that's a dump of the. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so I still haven't got the mechanism that I really want, but I find displaying these things by person name to be quite interesting. Oh no, I thought I had a new one. I had a new version which it sorts by length and then sorts by. Yeah, I've got a new one here. Let's get that. I think I preferred this one. Save that. Here. Okay. So if I get that data, I guess I don't need to do data equals there. I can grab that. Oh, crap. I want that to be. So what's the data? Is it 27th today? No, 28th now. So I can grab that and stick that in IRB.
What are we trying to do?
I'm just going to look at, how the, the pattern of pairing data over the last couple of days.
Okay.
And I can do require AP. and then AP data. So, but this is the data for today, making it look like we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What was that? 7 people in Hangouts by themselves, and 3 sets of pairs. And then we can look at the data for yesterday. So yesterday, and I think it's interesting to see here more than just, is it one person? We can see effectively multiple attempts at starting Hangouts, or multiple
by the same people.
Yeah. And then we can see here pairing events involving the same people over again, a couple of 3s, a pair, a pair, a pair. I mean, I think basically there's going to be sort of a downward trend over time of less and less people pairing.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got interesting there, lots of. This person's giving the TAs a lot of trouble, complaining about poor peer reviews when she hasn't received any. She's interpreting because she hasn't done her training, so she's interpreting the fact that she hasn't received any credit for her pairing as an indication that people have given her a 0, when in fact it's like she's confused by the edX interface and hasn't moved on to the place where she would receive actual. Anyway, that's another story. But so with what we've done now, potentially we might see a change in the pattern of like who is the data that's stored, and we can keep on observing that. I mean, I guess the itch I kind of want to scratch is just like having a much nicer participant model that doesn't store this data serialized in the database. But I guess what we have is kind of good enough for now.
Maybe, yeah.
And I feel like the thing that would be most cool would be if this page with the kind of live now, if you just saw a series of icons of who was there. Do you know what I mean? And we've just updated the participants so that we can kind of it'll be more accurate in the long sense of the word. I mean, there was this thing that we had this help desk hangout in the MOOC for one time, and the thing that I always thought was coolest about it is that you could just basically see the set of people who were in the hangout before joining it, and I just thought that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And what that makes me want to do is bring this functionality that we have here about who is present in a hangout into, I mean, I think the index page would be a strong one, but to bring that into the show page for it, because I think people, although ultimately a quick view on here, I mean, that loading, that's a whole load of extra data, but people sort of looking at this, I mean, they will potentially click, they can see, okay, there's more information to get from the ... dots or whatever. And if it's this event live, yeah. Is that gone? Just move it somewhere else. Where's my list of things to do? Have I really got that many pieces of? Oh yeah, here it is. I guess, yeah, it's like displaying who is in an event on event show page. There's the live page, the index page. In the longer term, 6. I've got display user created event creator on. I mean, maybe you should be pushing me in a different direction. But my theory is, if we can get the whole thing a little more welcoming and friendly, then more people will join more events and we'll get more data, and they'll hopefully be able to create a virtuous cycle, so to speak. But maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. Should we be doing a broader review now to work on something else? What like, are you excited to look at the specs that what bloody name Yarrow has written for the Hangout connection? And we could be using that to try and write specs for the Agile bot so that we could maintain it as a separate microservice.
Maybe.
And try and improve the formatting that it delivers when it updates the things.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's an argument to say, given that we have made a few changes here and pushed them out, we should sort of leave the event show page and index page to settle for a while. Yeah. Should we just see if we can run Yarrow's tests?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in this environment. If we already do hand connection, yeah, no, we've already got one. Okay. So now it's interesting. The README file here is sort of conspicuous by its absence. I guess we could possibly try and okay. We could maybe even document what we understand of this. So it's got a rake file. So I guess I could do rake test here.
It does have a Jasmine CI test in there.
Yeah. Okay. So to run tests, bundle, and to install. Installation. Run bundle to install libraries. Okay, an error occurred. What RVM?
Gem install event machine 1.03.
Okay.
Looks nasty.
Can't install under El Capitan. Failed to. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not even on Capitan. I'm on the one before.
Okay.
Yosemite.
Ah, okay. Okay. No. Oh, well, now at least I get more of a warning. Ooh, lots of. Ooh.
What did you do?
Well, I followed the suggestion here to do.
It didn't work, right?
It didn't. Well, started giving me more information. It did a BrewLink OpenSSL. I maybe need to upgrade my. Lots of people saying it worked for them. I think I might just run brew update in the background. So I've now got here.
So what did they run?
They ran this BrewLink OpenSSL Force, and this is on El Capitan. I mean, do you want to pull this Hangout connection out for yours locally and run bundle and just see it? Maybe it'll just install.
I did.
Okay, and bundle works smoothly for you.
It failed.
Oh, okay, with the same sort of error.
Gem install then machines. It's not
Okay,
with a bunch of C++ errors.
right. Yeah, I mean, you could try this the command that they used.
BrewLink open SSL -- force.
Yeah.
Thank you. That worked.
Did it?
No. Nope, didn't. It looked like it was working.
Yeah, and then, well, maybe you've got the same error as. I'm going to try brew upgrade.
The next thing, like it went to child process.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it failing on a? It still said event machine. Well, I guess the next thing was maybe a different requirement of event machine. I'm just doing brew upgrade OpenSSL.
That's probably what it is.
I'm gonna relink to the latest version of OpenSSL, and then try bundle install again.
Nope.
I mean, this is. I guess it's effectively. The interesting thing with this is all this C stuff here.
Hold on.
Sure. It's not clear what the. I mean, it's just failed in all sorts of nasty ways. This is event machine 1.0.3. I mean, I guess the other. So I think we should El Capitan event machine bundle uninstall. Da, 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 da. Somebody else. Yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing to do is we could try bundle updates event machine. In as much as the gem file doesn't specify event machine. Yeah, and that's worked. So then we could do rake test. Tests. Run the following. Okay. PhantomJS has crashed. PhantomJS does not appear to be installed. Installing. Please read the crash reporting guide at crash dump. We've got a dump file. Yeah, okay. Now what's the, can we run? Rake Jasmine CI invoke. So we've updated to event machine 1.2.0.1. Boom, boom, boom. Can we do the Rake Jasmine and then have a look at here? Okay, so the tests appear to pass. I guess. Rake test. To run the tests in your browser, use Rake Jasmine, and then open eight more. Server is specified. The command prompt. Hangout connection. This is a Google Hangout plugin that connects to the Agile Ventures website to indicate that an event has gone live and continue to provide update the site as to changes in Hangout participants and other related data.
All right, so I'm going to say Independence Day. What's going on?
So I got it to work by doing bundle update event machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I've now been able to run all the tests.
Everything else on a code base going to break?
Well, not on my machine. I mean, it sort of depends what the dependency of event machine is. I mean, the danger that we have with this is that, you know, potentially some change will, I mean, that it may all work completely locally as far as a test thing, and then we stick it in actually plug the thing into the Hangout, and then that fails.
I just ran Rake Jasmine CI and it broke.
Yeah, me too. It breaks. I got it breaking on, basically it runs and then PhantomJS crashes. I mean, I noticed that it basically installed PhantomJS for me, version 197, which I'm fairly sure doesn't work generally, and then breaks. I ran the tests so that, and then in the browser, they all pass in the browser. I mean, it's interesting because this relates to this issue that we're having on. I mean, we've in website 1.
Did we have this similar problem on local support?
Yes.
One or another.
I think both local support and what is this now called? Phantom. Both on local support. But at the very least on website 1, we have this we have the PhantomJS gem,
Yeah.
which is controlling the loading of PhantomJS. We are having repeated CI fails from the PhantomJS thing not being installing properly, and Raoul is speculating, is that related to the gem as a mechanism for doing it? I mean,
Yeah. And he was saying that CI provides their own version anyway.
I assume that they do. I mean, we might move back to it, but given that this particular PhantomJS is failing here, I don't know that. I mean, the other thing is also there's the rake test, which is maybe doing. Oh no, that's interesting. Actually, even without
Updating it.
I wonder if the failure there is not related to. It's just maybe the way he's calling the PhantomJS CI. I mean, he's got this thing in the test, which is sort of compiling. I guess it's automatically compiling the CoffeeScript.
Yeah.
And then doing this. I guess I will just, well, with that in, let's see what rake test does this time. So it still crashes there.
But it passed.
Well, you get the same number of dots, I think, but then it has like a final failure there. I mean, I wonder if for rake test, if I remove the other. Okay, now that's interesting. So the PhantomJS crash seems to be maybe not related to the tests and related. We've got this Ruby that's trying to run this build operation.
Which
is unrelated to the tests by the look of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like that should be in a separate test called build, for example.
Yeah.
Actually, what seems to happen there, well, no, we seem to identify that it's the presence of this CoffeeScript build step. I wonder if it's because these things are happening in separate threads. Like this is telling the system to do this, and then it's not blocking, and so it's kind of getting in a tangle. So, I mean, I guess it's like compile CoffeeScripts. I mean, I would have thought the thing to do here is to have a separate task, which is like compile.
Right.
CoffeeScript compile. How to convert JavaScript to CoffeeScript. How to is there like a CoffeeScript?
To build CoffeeScript project. Someone's blog, but it's taking.
Oh yeah, rake file for building and minifying CoffeeScript. Yeah, I mean somebody else they're also using this step, but I guess the I don't know what this sed thing is doing particularly. Something in the file names. But I want, if we have these, if we separate these things out. I mean, the dangerous thing here is that our live site uses this public thing here. So if this changes and we push it live, then all the Hangouts starts changing. So we want to be a little bit cautious of that. But so what is it? It's like rake specify dependent tasks. How to make it hash notation like that. Compile, task compile. So if we make this dependent on, that's the whole thing, isn't it? I want it to be dependent on compile, but I want this to go up here. I wonder if we can specify all the way around. I'll do there. So if we now do rate test here, okay, yeah, that seems to avoid that problem.
Okay.
I wonder if we can possibly even do this. Yeah, okay. And I should just quickly do bundle here, rate test, and I guess the rate test is probably the best way to go. Yeah, okay. And so the README, we could probably put bundle exec in front of all of those. Bundle exec, bundle exec.
So what did you do?
So what I did was, rather than having these separate calls all in a single task, I split them out into 3 separate ones, and then I made test dependent on this, on the compile step. And I think, I don't know for sure, my hypothesis is that what this means is that it will wait for this to complete before going on to the next task.
I wonder how that would actually work, though, if system's not blocking.
You want, I mean, if it, well,
if system doesn't block, I wonder how that works.
Well, if it doesn't block, well, the fact that it seems to be forcing it to work makes me think that I think that's the nature of the rake relationships here. Is this will not execute this task until this one has completed.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like it somehow knows that system is a special call or something.
I don't think it needs to know anything about the system call so much. Is that I think it's that it, you know,
doesn't system spawn a separate process?
I think it does, but I think that then
to wait.
Well, it's possible. It's possible that all it's doing is it's just introducing a temporal dependency, so that the fact that this relationship means that it just actually it's taking a little bit longer, and so that gets out of the way. But
yeah, that might actually.
I mean, if this returns immediately, yeah, maybe that's a more likely hypothesis. So the build operation there is actually that's kind of deploy actually. This is what this does is it basically merges all files.
I mean, it feels like there should be some kind of gem or something that
in places
compiles this stuff.
Yeah, you would have. Yeah. Is there a
coffee script gem?
Compilation gem?
CoffeeScript is a bridge to the JS CoffeeScript compiler.
Ruby CoffeeScript. Fork from Rails Ruby CoffeeScript. Does not that active.
No. Interesting. Because everyone's moved to NPM.
They're all compiling their CoffeeScript in NPM.
Well, Rails has their own Ruby CoffeeScript. See, it's got its own little. If you look at the regular.
Where would I be looking?
From what it's forked from.
Yeah, right.
Rails repo is more recent, December 31st.
Okay. although not. I mean, it's got 6 stars and it's watched by 16, forked by 48 people. I mean, so I think what I'm going to do here is just, so I've got Git status. I've just
Rails organization. Huh.
right. Git
Part of
commit
the Rails.
am adds readme contents beans up rake file and updates to newer version of event machine, which allows us to run all this on recent OS X.
They depend the coffee Rails gem,
Mm-hmm.
coffee script gem.
Right. So there's like a pure CoffeeScript gem.
There's a coffee script gem.
Homepage. It's interesting. The gem called CoffeeScript is actually this guy Josh's fork of the Rails one.
Yeah, that's weird. But that's what Rails themselves are relying on.
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
If you look in the gem spec for the Rails,
like on our project, like our gem file lock, we've got coffee Rails depending on CoffeeScript, and then CoffeeScript. Yeah, so I guess clearly all of the Rails stuff is built on top of that.
so I assume that's going to be maintained by somebody.
Yeah.
Unless they just drop coffee script.
I mean, I think the thing that I mean, we could be changing the build process, I guess.
Okay, well, whatever.
The compile process. Yeah, I'm tempted to sort of like poke around. I mean, the nice thing there was seeing. Oh, I lost them now. Like if I run rake Jasmine, we can get this. You know, I mean, Archspec and Jasmine, I think, you know, the readability is supposed to come in here. So, what do we know about the Hangout connection app? It has, I guess, some methods. It has a constructor that adds a callback on the instructor. Initialize runs send URL on start if not yet updated. Does not run send URL on start if already updated. It sets the refresh interval. It sets the Hangout on air status to started. We also have a change Hangout on air status, which send URL first time with Hangout status of started and notified true. Change from started to broadcasting if broadcasting. Change if end broadcasting. Send URL makes request to WSL with correct params. Updates connection status to OK. Displays notice and sets update. That's presumably update flag after update. Updates connection status to error on failure. So that is presumably the stuff that is in here. So we have this, and I guess I don't have a CoffeeScript view, so I do it like that. Describe Hangout connection app, Windows gadgets. Before each, it builds us a Hangout. Let's start at the bottom here because we've got updates connection status to error on failure. Okay. So we've got basically we're stubbing the Ajax. Okay, display notice to have been called. Updates connection status to OK. So basically these are tests around this app send URL, app send URL. We've got here, so expect to being called with a timestamp. Okay. But then so the constructor. Now I guess this is the CoffeeScript here. This implies that the constructor is called if we create an instance of this class.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is where, does this imply that, I guess, right.
So that adds an event on API ready.
Right. So
as a callback, which is contained in that block.
So basically it's going to
4 through 6.
Yeah, and presumably API ready is like basically once the Hangout actually, given the Hangout is actually loaded properly.
Yeah.
And it's going to check, it really has loaded properly. And then it's going to run the initialize method, and then it's going to
change, add.
This is interesting here because this is presumably all of this gappy Hangout stuff. This is like reaching out to the kind of parent Hangout and doing things. And so I guess that do we have, like, if I look at the Hangout connection thing, I don't see any mention of, like, we've got, so, and change, like here, at change status, that's referring to the method here. So it's basically saying, no, okay, so what this is doing is saying, when the broadcasting changes, here's a function that you should call.
Yeah.
So the Hangout on air status is initially just started.
And then it
basically
callback.
Basically, yeah. So this is muxing the changes in the Hangout broadcasting status into a series of these Hangout statuses that can be sent back to us on the client side.
Right.
And here as well, if it's okay, and that's interesting here. What this does as well, that says that we should send another with the send URL. That's pinging back to the server. Basically, so we've got that 2-minute update, but if the broadcasting starts or if it finishes, then we get an immediate update of participants and whatever data coming through. I mean, so that's, but so the tests that we have, constructor initialize, we have got a test here for change Hangout status. Right. this is almost sort of an acceptance test, isn't it? Here, send URL first time with Hangout state of started notify true. The notify is the thing that specifies whether it hits the Slack or not. And okay, so this is, but so, okay, and so I guess these things here, what they're actually set, like, so the interesting thing here about this description at the high level of what this is doing, it actually describes this. But then we've got a separate thing that's happened that, you know, the server side has been alerted.
Yeah.
Which is not covered in that description. And it's testing that thing, but it's not self-evident from the high level description. Okay. So then we've got the send URL. So apparently there's like, the start data is the stuff that we've stuck in the Hangout button.
Yeah.
For the, you know, it's like a package it's received. So we construct the callback URL out of that. We get a series of data, we see the participants and so on. Stuff is all coming in. And we decide to send that back. And then
On success.
yeah, we've got here. Yeah, because this is our display notice. Okay, so we do see that connection to website 1 established occasionally, don't we? And then I guess I mean, they've got this kind of green button indicating the connection status in the thing. Okay, yeah. So I mean, that actually looks like if we wanted to have it send this URL again whenever anybody joined and left the Hangout, that would be, I guess, a fairly simple bit of, in the initialize, we would just add it to the appropriate kind of event listener.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we? But I guess you could argue that, you know, if somebody's in there for less than 2 minutes, we wouldn't really consider them a participant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to know that though.
We might well want to know that. I mean, we could certainly. I mean, that would be a little activity, wouldn't it, that we could do, which would be this would be have send URL ping on. I mean, if we're particular, like in some ways, we don't care so much if somebody leaves the Hangout, because on the next update, yeah, whatever. If we just want to gather as many participants as possible, so participant join event, and I think we do have like a happy Hangout participant join. Participant. There's a participant change event.
There was some kind of warning that it wouldn't necessarily immediately update participants.
Well, events, because we've got an on participants changed and on participants added. But so presumably what that would look, I mean, we've set this timer up. Where's the bit where it actually, send URL must be referenced in a send URL true, because that's us calling it for its initial start. Control F, send URL, and not find it, send URL in that file. That's ridiculous. Yeah, send URL. So basically we have change Hangout on air status. Right. So I'm just sort of, won't commit this. I see, I've got here, let me just status, commit minus am plus git diffit. This is git commit minus am corrects spelling mistakes in spec diffs. But so presumably we could have something like this. I mean, we could probably go with this one for like, instead of change hangout status there, I guess this, what's this clear interval thing doing? Oh, I guess that like the clear interval, I see. So we could possibly define a function there, change participant status, like so. And then we would basically just say, what is that clear interval doing? I mean, that clear interval is sort of,
Where does it say clear? Oh,
it's just here. I mean, this is kind of, this is like, if it's over, I mean, the simplest thing to do would just be this, right?
yeah. If it's over, then it's gonna not keep pinging.
Well, I wonder, does the clear, okay, so when you finish broadcasting,
I think
do you think clear interval is like basically gonna
clear the timer.
right, and that is gonna turn the timer off?
Yeah.
I was thinking that that clearing interval might mean that it resets the timer.
Maybe.
Maybe, who knows? But so the interval thing, I thought there was kind of another jQuery lib hangout connection template. Oh, timer. There's timer.coffee.
Mozilla Developer Network says clear interval is a function which cancels repeated action set up using set interval.
Hmm.
And you can pass it an ID.
Yeah. Okay.
From set interval.
Okay. So anyway, we definitely don't want to change. We don't want to do that on a. It's interesting because actually I would say we don't want to clear the interval here, because if people are still hanging out in the hangout, you can still join, even if they've stopped recording. You know, that's no reason to what have you. But so we could. Interesting. Undefined is not an option. So my attempt to just introduce a very small change there has failed. Competence changed. I guess is it all on Hangouts? Hangout. Can I search from in here? Like if we look at on broadcasting changed. On broadcasting changed. Broadcasting change. Yeah, that looks the same. It's also on broadcasting changed. Change participation status. Undefined is not an object. Ah. On participants changed. I guess the Hangout that's on air, maybe. Participants changed. Okay, that should be called directly on Hangout. not an on-air thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I guess one could be running a test to check that that came through.
Right.
Do you want to have a go at writing a test for that?
All right.
Should I push it over to you?
Sure. Quit that.
What did I change here in the? Yeah. I thought I just added that and git commit -am spikes updates on participant changes. Git push origin master. I'm just going to step away briefly.
Daddy.
仕事してる。もうちょっとで終わるよ。Okay. How's it going there?
All right. Did you change spec?
I only changed the spec so that some spelling mistakes in the spec. Do you want to get JavaScript coloration on that?
I don't know how to do that.
If you see at the very bottom right of the screen, it says plain text.
Oh.
And then there you go.
All right, so
yeah, so
something called on participants changed already in this.
Oh yeah,
it's an event.
It looks like the Hangout is set up to have it's like a placeholder for. I mean,
go on.
I guess the
and it's just an empty block.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. I mean, the first thing that we could be doing is in the on line 44 in describe.
We're not pulling in that function yet. Like we're not actually pulling in Gappy, I guess. Right.
I'm not sure. I mean, we've got the on API ready. I guess in the sort of creating the Hangout here, it's kind of it's added the callback so that it you see this data object here.
It's defined its own little Gappy. Like it's stubbed out Gappy.
Right. I mean, in the participant.
Go on.
I mean
I mean,
I would just say, like, I think, like, if you look at line 13 there, you've got that callback is API ready true, right? It's basically, yeah, it's stubbing it out and it's defining, like a data object that's going to come back through when is API ready called, right?
Yeah.
And if we look at the corresponding code that allows the if block on line 4 to pass, and then the rest of the, thing to take place in the constructor.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, actually, the interesting thing is the constructor, it only checks that the on API ready is called, and it doesn't check that anything has been added to the on broadcasting changed, or that anything
So
has been added to on participants changed.
there should be a callback here, right? And we should call it back.
I guess so.
And what does it take?
Well, I don't. I think it. We can just send it an empty object at the moment because we're not.
Hold on, I just want to look. I just
Okay.
want to. Yeah, we can just send it that. So this, yeah, okay. We actually have to.
I guess I would say, like,
Hold on. Right.
well, maybe. I mean, I think that we may or may not need exactly that form of that thing there. I think the thing to do, what we definitely have to do, is work out what we will add to the way in which we're describing the constructor. And what I was saying before is that actually so at the moment, the on broadcasting change thing is not checked for in the constructor spec.
Do we really need to check that?
Well, it's the kind of thing that if it was removed, various parts of it's an existing bug. We don't have to worry about it. I was just the thing that we should be checking for is that, like, that on participants changed has been called with this add operation.
Right.
So I guess we've got that, like on line 43, we could write another line and say expect gappy.hangout.onparticipantschanged.add to have been called.
Is that all we care about?
Well, I mean, I think we care that it's been told to use the change participants thing. But I think that just doing what I was just checking that it's being called would be a good sanity check of, is the whole thing behaving in the way that we think it might be behaving?
And that passes.
Yeah. So then we could break it to see if it actually checks what we think it's checking. Comment line 7. Yeah. If you hold down the command key and the /, then it always comments in the correct.
Still passed.
I wonder, is that the correct?
Yeah.
It is 2 /.
Is that, or should it be a hash? Like
No, it's, I mean, well, that's interesting. Maybe it should be a hash, actually. I mean, we've got this set up as JavaScript within, I mean, that one you haven't, but CoffeeScript comments. How to comment. Oh, yeah, it is a hash sign.
We're getting a failure. Like, I mean, we're not getting a failure, but we're getting a crash now.
Okay.
That's still passing. It's passing. That indicates something's weird there. What I'm wondering about is why was that even stubbed out to begin with? Is there somewhere else that this is called?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that may just reflect, the churn of the. Oh, there is a spying of. That's interesting. I am seeing there's a spy on it. There's a spying on it in the initialize operation, but then it's not.
Where?
On line 49 of the Hangout connection spec.coffee.
It's a different.
I mean, it's. I mean, there's kind of a spy. It's being spied on, and then it's kind of being ignored. I mean, I think it may have been used.
Maybe that actually needs to be spied on for us to say it's been called.
Very possibly. You might want to take that line from there, where it seems to serve no purpose because it's not called, and bring it into the constructor. Yeah. And I wonder if they were using on participants changed in the past and they found it unreliable and moved away from it.
So that's passing.
So if you comment line 7.
And this is supposed to be a hash.
Right. We should probably get CoffeeScript plugins. But...
Nope. Still passing.
Okay. Show me the test again. So, okay, so now we're specifying. Interesting. What happens if you comment out the on API ready thing? Like if we comment out the whole that section, like from line 3, like the constructor, can we
comment this whole thing out? What do you mean?
Well, I was thinking from line 3 through line 7. Like if the constructor is just an empty function and does nothing.
How do I do that?
Well, if you select from lines 3 to 7, and then you could try command /, but you might need to set the style to be Ruby here so that you'll get the right kind of comment. If you go down to the plain text and move it to Ruby, yeah, there we go. Which looks no worse than the other one. And there you go. And then save that. I mean, it may just totally break up with the constructor being a nothing thing and say it can't compile. Right. So that suggests to me that the test is not testing what it thinks it's testing.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good point to pause and do the stand-up, and then I'm going to have to. I've got a meeting at my son's new school. He's going to high school. So gonna have to wrap up in 15 minutes. But yeah, let's we'll go into the Hangout and we can talk about how to move forward.
All right.